Yes, can we check the live stream? Hans, I'm talking right now. Let's see about the time difference. See about delay. We should check YouTube right now. And for everybody that is watching already, welcome. We're live already. And at 1 o'clock, we will start with the World JAIN Challenge. We'll start with the speakers first, and then after we will have pitch teams, candidates again with technical products and prototypes, competing about the best innovations. This is the second edition. Check, check, test. Oh, it's really fast. It is really fast.
Nee, daar zit echt wel een minuut tussen.
Nee, ik zei net, doe nog eens aan. Ik hoor het ook. Doe je oortjes eens uit.
With me.
Echt wel een minuut.
I have to unmute myself.
Okay, we have some delay. That's just it with YouTube Live. Takes a few seconds when you see everything in YouTube.
I have to go to the next door to the other control room, Thomas. I'm not in the control room now.
All right.
You see it now, don't you guys? You can send the message yourself.
Okay.
And chat, and then we see another team see all the chat, and Tia will bring the chat questions to Thomas.
Yeah.
And we are prepared in depth about the questions.
Okay.
Yeah, and the questions are very difficult. We prepare also the answer for the speaker and for Thomas, so that you can have a quick talk with each other.
Okay. Yeah. And you can hear it now.
Okay. Thomas, it is good to see on YouTube at this moment.
Yes. Is it good?
Okay, will you please make for 3 minutes an introduction so I can check whether the sounds are good here?
Yes, but I don't have my microphone yet. But today we will broadcasting the World JAIN Challenge, the event and the competition about the best innovations for people with memory loss. We will have 3 prototype teams and 3 product teams. We also have speakers, experts that knows the latest developments about science and dementia. We welcome everybody to join us during the YouTube live stream. And please ask your questions in the chat. We
Dank u wel.
will answer those questions shortly.
Thank you very much, Thomas. It is very good. The sound is very good here in the Innovation House as well. I will go back to the control room. We started now, and the floor is your startup. All the things, the video of violence and the video of the Innovation House, and then you will host, as a chairman, as the founder of JAIN, the whole competition today. Thank you very much, Thomas. The floor is yours.
And let's just wait now until 1 o'clock set.
Yes.
Waiting for the teams and the people, the viewers, the attendees.
If you have a query for me, please shout. I can come on to the front of the presentation. Dear Anna, welcome. Anna, I give you the... Hello, Anna. I give you the co-host. You are co-host at this moment.
Perfect.
Yes?
I won't abuse that power. Thank you very much.
So wonderful. Thank you very much. We are so exciting about everything. Pleased to have you in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ik denk dat spotlight is. De spotlight. Zodat jij dan groter bent. Ik ben ook gisteren nog gedaan. Dan komt dat scherm groot.
No.
All people on board.
Je kunt even zo. We hebben gemute het in van. Ja.
People on board.
Can I grab? Yeah, yeah. Do you want to do this wel? Oh, wil je nog op de koffie?
Nee, ik heb water. die woont. Ik zal graag die mensen zien.
Ready.
Oh, yes. Yeah, don't get from what. Oh, they are so good. That's the team. Already do it.
Very good.
Teams work very well.
How do you want to stand? You can say them where you should stand. You can stand them.
They'll make it channel fit.
Hans, can you make everybody co-host?
Hey, Thomas, can you check whether they are co-hosts? Everybody? Federico, can you say that your co-host is activated?
How do I see? I can just try to share the screen. Yeah, I can share the screen, so I'm assuming I co-host.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I'll go in front of the screen now. I saw Professor Charles Ferry. Welcome, Charles, into this.
I'm here. Good afternoon, actually.
Good afternoon. We are live on YouTube, so we will wait before we started. Are there any questions from your side, Mr. Seri?
No, not really. I'm going only to stay till about 2:15 because I have a meeting of Alzheimer Europe online.
Oh, yes. That is correct.
I will
Thank you.
attend to the last talk about technology solutions for everybody living with dementia. And then I have to leave, unfortunately.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I have to say and to welcome the ambassador of the Netherlands. He's just in the hall before this meeting room. Zo wordt in video gestart. Daarna de video. Daarna introduceert Thomas ons. En dan begint Ben. Gaat het Nederlands. Thomas is veranderd. En dan begin ik. Ja, ja. Dit is wat precies. Ja, dat is hetzelfde.
Okay, Hans, the speaker view is on, and that's
All right.
good. We have to switch between the speaker view and the gallery view sometimes.
All right, I will do. Is the video of Milan starting now?
Yes, in a few minutes.
Okay. Ben nog niet in dat u dat gaat wel. Ja,
I have to say, you are still muted, just to inform you. The Embassy of the Netherlands, you are still muted. When you're going to talk, please unmute yourself.
Thomas, will you say a word, please?
Hoor je ons, Thomas? You hear us?
Hi, yes, I can hear you. How are you?
We're thrilled with anticipation.
That's good. Like us, actually.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to a nice challenge, an interesting event with the best innovations. There's technical products and prototypes, and in a few minutes we will start.
Sure, no problem. Is dat mij gisteren overkwam? Ik had het niet eerlijk, hè?
All right, we're starting almost, and everybody is still muted. In a few seconds until we are actually starting with the challenge, because we are live already. And people are watching already, which is exciting. Of course, people can ask questions already. And we will start with a video in a few seconds. And we have started. Welcome at the World JAIN Challenge 2022. This edition, we will have 3 prototypes and we will have 3 products again. We are competing about the best innovations for people with dementia. And we will introduce all speakers, all candidates later on. For now, we start with a video from Vilans and the Innovation House.
Dear colleagues, as we grow older with each generation, dementia becomes an ever more pervasive disease. My name is Erwin Bleuming from Vilans, the National Knowledge Organization for Care and Support in the Netherlands. It is our ambition to contribute to better lives for people with dementia. Technology has the potential to help people with dementia as well as their caregivers and healthcare professionals. But to reach the full potential of technology, we need to collaborate. We have no time for not invented here. We have no time for pilots without implementation. We need to collaborate to quickly learn together and speed up implementation. We need to design technology implementation together with people with dementia and their environment. And we need to validate the value of new technology implementation. That's why we at Vilans participate in JAIN. Please join us and help apply technology for good for people with dementia.
It is a pleasure and honor to be part of the World JAIN Challenge, to give an impulse to dementia-friendly digital care supported by AI. I'm Henk Herman Nap, Digital Care Program Leader at Freelance. Digitalization changes our behavior, the way we communicate and find information, the way we live, the way we care, our quality of life. At Freelance, we have a mission to ensure that care technologies are fully integrated in the care process, that it's normal and natural to use care tech, all to maintain and support quality of life of people and reduce workload of carers. Together with JAIN, we iteratively co-design, study, implement warm technologies and share knowledge on how it supports digital communication and information for citizens. However, long-term care does not sufficiently apply technology yet. We must learn faster together. We know that end users are a critical success factor in the design and implementation. Long-term care needs support by AI and data and responsible innovation. Technology must add value to people's lives, and we should study, evaluate and validate to which extent it does. Also to ensure the rapid scale-up of care tech that matters. At Freelance, we work on 40 national and international programs and projects on digital care, with 40 Freelance colleagues in design, research, advice and communication. For example, in the Active and Assisted Living project HAL, with a package of care tech to support the client journey of people with dementia and its care network, all by an AI-driven dashboard for carers for early detection and lifestyle monitoring. We do this in an iterative co-design way, value-based and data-driven. We give an impulse to knowledge on the implementation of technology in care and support. Let us work together within JAIN. Have a great challenge and thank you.
All right, thank you for watching this video of Henk Herman Nap and the Innovation House already. Henk Herman Nap is a strong partner of JAIN, and we are very glad that he likes to work with JAIN and that he was a speaker last edition. The Innovation House is also with us today. We just saw it in the video and we see the Embassy of the Netherlands already on the screen, Bengt van Loosdrecht, the ambassador of Netherlands in Sweden. And also with Bengt van Loosdrecht is the Dutch innovation advisors, John Dekker and Clarissa Sander. We are very thankful that we can broadcast live from there today and tomorrow. Bengt van Loosdrecht will now welcome everybody to this edition.
Yes,
Bengt, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'll speak a few words. I'll try to be brief. It was really nice to see all these images of people in different stages of life in a very comfortable Western environment. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that, well, as someone said, technology must add quality to the lives of people. Unfortunately, at the moment, given the geopolitical context, technology also, subtracts from the quality of life of people, especially in Ukraine. This is something that's really sad. It's heart-wrenching, horrible. People are being uprooted, families torn apart, but let's also have a thought for elderly people who are left behind a lot in places like Kharkiv, Mariupol, probably also in Kyiv, where the children, as I have understood from the media, feel sometimes it's better if they leave because then at least they stay alive and can try to take care of their parents later on. It's heart-wrenching. I'm saying this not because we're going to solve this here, but because it's a very important issue that we, as the Netherlands, are trying to solve in the security order of the European Union and also with other countries in the context of NATO. Now, with these serious words, I would like to welcome you all to this JAIN challenge. We, as an embassy, and especially the Innovation House in Stockholm, are honored to be associated with this event. I think the organization with Hans Arnold contacted us a while ago through the Innovation Network, and we were more than happy to help out for this contest, which will bring together 3+3 participants who will pitch their solutions that they have brought. And this later on will be decided. I believe that the winner of this challenge will be announced also by our Minister Corrie Helder, who is the Minister of what we call in Dutch langdurige zorg en sport. Let me not translate that. In any case, thank you very much for participating. As I said, I'm really honored to be associated with this, and I wish you all success with your endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bengt van Loosdrecht. We now move on to John Dekker. John.
Thank you. A few words about the Netherlands Innovation Network, because that's where we are. We're in Sweden. The Netherlands Innovation Network, we are in 17 countries, and we have around 60 people working for us. So what do? So we are a very proactive team of people. So we go in our countries, we go to knowledge institutes, we go to universities, and we make those connections to enable innovation and make those connections back to the Netherlands. So very proactive. We are also reactive as a network because our government in Den Haag is asking all kinds of questions. Like there's a new European law, what is the opinion of Sweden on this? Or who are the key players in quantum in your area? We as a network, embedded in the countries, we dive into that. So reactive, and we were busy working, we were all happy, and then Hans came in. JAIN came in our lives because Hans made contact in Den Haag saying, I got this problem, but this is a global thing. Correct. And if you want to go global, from the Netherlands perspective, we are one of the networks that you really can use. So really happy that you knocked on our doors. And what did we do as a network now for JAIN? So first of all, we promoted JAIN around the world in our countries. So we connected to the Alzheimer organizations in the countries. We talked to companies that were interested. And we even did 3 mini conferences. Especially, I want to give a shout out to our people in Israel, in Germany, and India, because they managed already to get on a high level really important people around the table about this topic. So really good. This all fits into the philosophy of the network and from the Netherlands, because as the Netherlands, we're open, we're inclusive, and we're innovative, right? So this fits exactly, this is where we want to be, and that's why we really support the initiative. And I think I've talked now long enough, so good luck. Yeah. And I'm very happy to have you here.
You are the first one I've approached about our ID.
Yes, you did.
And from that on, we are on all the countries you've mentioned, and I'm very happy. We are so happy that we have the relationship with Sweden. Yeah. Sweden is so important for JAIN. This is because our worldwide, you are the front runner in health and bringing affordable products to people with dementia. And I've talked to several people here in Sweden, and they came aboard. And so to the whole world, it was happening. So I'm very grateful to Sweden. Good. Together with all the experts mentioned in the program, we have organized the World JAIN Challenge. And I would like to thank Franco Milan of Interdem as the chairman of the jury of the World JAIN Challenge. She was a very good friend in making the World JAIN Challenge. And also the co-founder of JAIN, Thomas Arnold. He will host this meeting as chairman all the days of the World JAIN Challenge. I would also like to thank all the Alzheimer associations, especially the Alzheimer Association in the Netherlands and Alzheimer Europa, but also Europe, I'm sorry. Also the local Alzheimer associations. So the association in India, or the association in Brazil, or in Israel. They helped us to come forward with JAIN. We believe together that making affordable products for people with dementia and deliver them all over the world for 50 million people worldwide will make it happen that we can make a product for people with dementia, that everybody can have them available and can buy them, also in India. I would like to express my thanks to Ben and to John for their opening words. They're very nice, and especially the attention also to the green. It is very important because all the old people over there are alone, because the young ones are going away. It is a terrible situation. Okay, I will make it to an end. We would like, with JAIN, with the World JAIN Challenge, we would like to develop the learning community. We have to learn and inspire ourselves. And we would like to help each other with making products to increase the self-reliance and quality of life of people with dementia, extend the time that people with dementia can live in their own houses, and reduce the cost within the healthcare and make affordable healthcare sustainable for the near future. Thank you very much, and I would like to give the word to the host and the co-founder, Thomas Arnold.
All right, thank you for the interesting words, Hans, and all the active members in the Innovation House, the Dutch Innovation House in Sweden. We will go on to the first speaker, Professor Charles Serry. He's active at the University of Malta and Vice Chairman of Alzheimer Europe. Professor Charles Serry will share his experience operating in the aforementioned organizations. We are glad that the VC of Alzheimer Europe joins us during this event. Charles Serry, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for that brief introduction. Are you hearing me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So, first of all, I would like to personally add my voice to those of the Mr. Ambassador about the plight of the Ukrainian people who are currently undergoing a very hard time at the moment, and our heart goes for them. So, good afternoon, Mr. Ambassador, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted and honored to join you all today in this opening speech as a representative of Alzheimer Europe's Management Board. Alzheimer Europe is the umbrella organization of 37 national Alzheimer associations coming from 33 European countries. Its mission is to change perceptions, policy, and practice in order to improve the lives of people affected by dementia. We are a non-profit, non-governmental organization trying to achieve our mission by providing a voice to people with dementia and their caregivers, making dementia a European priority, changing perception and challenging stigma, raising awareness of brain health and prevention, strengthening the European dementia movement, and supporting dementia research and innovation. As we all know very well, the world's population is aging. Over the coming years, our senior citizens will make up a significant portion of our societies as life expectancies continue to rise. An aging society in itself is something to be applauded and to be proud of. Improvement in healthcare in the past century have contributed to people living longer and with healthier lives. However, this has also resulted in an increase in the number of people with non-communicable diseases, including dementia. Today, dementia is one of the commonest neurological disorders worldwide. Currently, there are approximately 50 million people living with dementia, a figure that is expected to increase to around 135 million by the year 2050. It is also one of the costliest socio-medical conditions. In 2019, the global cost of dementia was estimated to be $1.3 trillion, a figure that is again expected to increase to almost $2.8 trillion by 2030. For every person living with dementia, there are also several others, mostly family members, who provide informal care for these individuals. Although in many societies, the concept of caregiving can be understood as a duty or responsibility to care for a relative with dementia, it is often associated with a number of challenges. Caregiving on a daily basis can be demanding, and providing care for someone living with dementia takes a tremendous toll on the physical and emotional health of the primary caregivers. According to the World Health Organization, in 2019, informal dementia caregivers spent in the region of 133 billion hours, which equates to around 8 hours per day in providing care, with such provision being particularly high in countries with low financial and social resources. Because dementia is a significant challenge facing our societies, several countries have developed plans and strategies aimed at improving the quality of life of these individuals and those who care for them via a number of initiatives and recommendations. Unfortunately, a good number of these plans do not put the required emphasis on the need of developing new technologies, even though policymakers, care professionals, and researchers often see technology applications as promising solutions to promote independence and autonomy in people with dementia. The important use of technology became more evident during the COVID-19 pandemic, where individuals with dementia were isolated from their families and deprived of their routine, resulting in a negative impact on their health and well-being. It is therefore not surprising to note that the largest increase in excess non-COVID-19 deaths were actually in people with dementia. However, people with dementia are not the only ones who can take advantage of the different technological tools. Remote assistive technology can involve caregivers as well by providing them with several types of supportive programs, which in turn could lead to many positive outcomes. It is worth mentioning here that the use of technology does not only enhance the quality of life of people living with dementia and their caregivers, but has also the potential to reduce costs for society and public health systems by prolonging admission to institutional care. To date, dementia has lagged behind in the use of technology compared to other long-term health conditions. There may be various reasons why. Although the science and technology exist, assistive technologies are not always accessible and fit for purpose. In many cases, they are simply not designed in collaboration with people living with dementia, and often do not function to satisfy their most urgent needs. At present, dementia technology is overlooked, as are the lives it could transform, and this isn't right. The challenge is to create tools that are accessible to everyone with dementia. These should either be affordable to people who need them, or to the social care systems that might provide them. If new tools are developed to support people with dementia to maintain their independence, this could relieve some of the pressures on caregivers. There are several devices, including location detectors and wearables, designed to help people stay safe, remain independent, detect any changes in their condition, or help them to manage it and live as full a life as possible. Such technologies highlight the possibilities that await, provided we encouraged a focused effort in adapting technology to the needs of people living with dementia. If new interfaces can be tailored to the needs of people with this condition, artificial intelligence and natural language tools could provide useful assistance to compensate for the cognitive limitations. What is needed is a collective effort to overcome existing obstacles to innovation in this field. From a technology developer perspective, the complex and progressive nature of dementia creates unique challenges. As a result, the innovators will need expert support to overcome technical barriers. Assistive technology has already transformed people's lives. For example, people who have lost the ability to speak for themselves because of nerve damage can now communicate with artificial intelligence tools that reproduce their own voice and speech patterns. It is time to bring the technological revolution to the aid of people with dementia, so that they too can continue to live life independently for as long as possible. To realize this vision, there is a need to facilitate genuine collaboration and partnerships between a broad range of academic disciplines and specializations to co-design technology and apply user-centric design principles. And this is the core belief behind what the World Joint Artificial Intelligence Network Challenge is trying to achieve, where product developers worldwide who are developing and marketing products for individuals living with dementia, relatives, researchers, and healthcare professionals come together and develop affordable support products for these individuals and those who are caring for them, based on artificial intelligence and new e-health technologies in the hope of enhancing their quality of life. Today, we have a major opportunity to harness the potential of technology to enable people with dementia to remain independent for longer, while taking pressure off caregivers and the social care system. While technology cannot replace human contact and care, it can both enable it and complement it. By nurturing a pipeline of new technology that benefits people living with this condition, we hope that they will be able to live independently for longer, now and in the future. Alzheimer Europe has always been at the forefront in supporting the use of technology in people living with dementia and those who care for them. In 2010, we published a seminal report on ethical issues linked to the use of assistive technology in dementia care. In it, Alzheimer Europe presents its position and guidelines on the ethical use of technology for people with dementia and proposes an ethical framework for decision-making. The use of technology as a topic has also featured very highly in our annual conferences. For example, in last year's conference, a whole plenary was dedicated to innovative approaches in dementia diagnosis and care through new technologies. Alzheimer Europe also participates in various research projects aimed at developing new technologies for individuals with dementia, their caregivers, and professionals alike. It would be impossible to mention them all, so I am going to only cite one. It is the interdisciplinary network for dementia utilizing current technology, INDUCT project, which comprised a number of leading research institutions working hand in hand with other partners, with the main objectives being that of determining the practical, cognitive, and social factors needed to make technology more usable for people with dementia, to evaluate the effectiveness of specific contemporary technology, and to trace facilitators and barriers for implementation of technology in dementia care. The project, which ended in 2020 and ran in continuous collaboration with individuals with dementia and caregivers, put forward a series of recommendations on the usability, impact, and implementation of technology in dementia. I would like to conclude with a quote coming from the great social media entrepreneur Matt Mullenweg. Technology is best when it brings people together. I cannot but applaud and congratulate you on your endeavor in developing innovative technical solutions aimed at bettering the quality of life of individuals living with dementia and those who care for them. To those whose prototypes made it to the final, I wish them all the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles Seri, for this very informative and constructive talk. We hope that we can work together with you in the near future to make this impact. So for now, after this talk, we go on to the next speaker, which is Dr. Franco Milan. She is a researcher at the University of Amsterdam, UMC, and chair Interdem, and also a committee member and chair of the assessment of the World JAIN Challenge. JAIN is very happy cooperating with Franco Milan. Franco is also very informed about the latest developments about science and dementia. Franco will give an important talk on developing a worldwide community, tackling dementia and memory loss obstacles. Franco Milan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Thomas. And dear attendees of this World JAIN Challenge, welcome everyone. I hope that you will enjoy this exciting event as much as I do. And I also want to say to the pitchers, success with your pitches today and tomorrow, and may the best win. I also would like to say thanks to the Dutch Embassy, as it is really an honor to be here in this Netherlands Innovation House. So really an honorable event here. So indeed, my name is Franco Milan, and I work at Amsterdam University Medical Centers, and I have over 15 years of experience in working with assistive technologies for people with dementia and their carers. And I also teach for a long period about this topic. And I'm also chair of the Interdem Task Force Assistive Technology, which aims to collaborate in this field with top researchers in Europe and beyond. And also it is my personal mission to see that what we are developing these days really helps in improving and innovating dementia care in practice. The field of e-health or assistive technologies is growing, with more technologies being developed, and it is important if you look at the growing number of people with dementia. You can see that here at this slide. Also, Professor Skerry talked about it. There's a huge number of people living with dementia expected in the year 2050. In this figure, which comes from a paper in The Lancet, a recent paper, you see in red the rise in numbers of females with dementia, and in blue for males with dementia. And worldwide, a mean 166% increase is expected, leading to 152.8 million people with dementia living in 2050. And especially in Africa and also in the Middle East, the red areas you see in the picture, even more people with dementia, and higher increase is expected. So it is important that we try to find a solution so that we can deliver proper care for people with dementia and their carers. And various technologies have indeed been developed. For instance, tracking devices, tablets with various supportive apps, sensors, robots technology, serious gaming and virtual reality applications. And these technologies try to target different domains in dementia care. For instance, they can help in prevention of dementia or in getting an early diagnosis. Also, they can help in improving the physical, mental, and social health of people with dementia. They can help in being in participation and having people with dementia being more active in society. They can also help with leisure and meaningful activities. And also they can provide support for the carers, the informal carers, or for professional carers. And with these technologies, it can be more fun to live at home, for instance. It can help improving quality of life and also promoting staying longer at home and organizing the care more efficiently. However, at the moment, we see still a gap, and a bridge is needed to come from one side to the other. And from one side, that is the side where we are now in a situation where a lot of technologies have been developed and are still being developed, to the other side where we see products really being used in daily practice for everybody with dementia throughout the world. And yeah, why is this bridge still needed and not there yet? That is because we face a lot of challenges. And we know that from different studies what kind of challenges these are. That are, for instance, that it is important to include all stakeholders at a very early stage of the development of the technology. Also important is that the technology is personalized and fits well to the needs. Also, it is important that the technology is stable and secure so that people can trust it when they use this technology. Also, it has already been said also by Hans, it is important that it is affordable for everyone. And therefore, it's so important that we have this worldwide vision of working on technology for people with dementia. Also, it is important to have attention for ethical values, like preserving autonomy for as long as possible, or for doing good instead of harm for people with dementia. And also, it is important to have an eye for the changes in work processes that may occur if you use technology. Furthermore, it is important that there is easily accessible information about what is out there on about technologies, for whom these technologies are, which needs these technology address, and how people value these technologies. Also important is that there is support for end users who will work with the technology. And also technology should be made maintainable, so that also requires efforts. Also, it is a long list, I realize it. Implementation and a good business plan are needed. There should also be a worldwide supply chain of these technologies. And it is needed to have really a good designed research on effectiveness of the technologies and also cost effectiveness of the technologies. So many challenges to address, and what could be a solution to these challenges? Well, the solution is to collaborate and also to accelerate with that. And these collaborations should be interdisciplinary, so people from different kinds of backgrounds should work together. This can be AI experts, technology experts, designers, but also different professionals like nurses, psychologists, doctors, also designers. And also, yeah, of course, people who work with the technologies in practice. So also practice and science should be combined. Juniors as well as seniors should collaborate, and again, this collaboration should be worldwide. So how can we do this? this collaboration? Well, JAIN has various initiatives to make that possible. For instance, there is this continuous learning and development club. And in this club, all kinds of experts work together. I've here listed people, I don't know if you can read it: government, university, knowledge centers, dementia care services, care professionals, Alzheimer associations, professionals, and non-professional developers. There is also a club with JAIN Young Professionals. And at the moment, there are already now 35 members. And many of those members at this moment collaborate in making this World JAIN Challenge possible. So they are already working now behind the screen. There are also JAIN Field Labs. And in these JAIN Field Labs, they exist at the moment in the Netherlands and also in collaboration with Spain and with Israel. And these JAIN Field Labs will be further developed with support from the Netherlands Innovation House from the various countries. Also, JAIN organizes International Academy monthly meetings, and some of those meetings are more technology-oriented and other meetings are more business-oriented. There will also be various innovation projects in the next year in close cooperation with various Alzheimer's societies. Also, we will work on piloting the JAIN mission on how to develop these affordable, customized products and deliver them also worldwide. And of course, we will have a new World JAIN Challenge, because from that we can learn from each other and we can also inspire each other. So if you are interested, we really invite you to join. And you see here some websites where you can find information about these JAIN projects. And also you see here a picture of the team that is working for JAIN. Then I want to go to the World JAIN Challenge 2022. And I would first of all like to thank the participants who participated in this World JAIN Challenge for sharing their knowledge and their products and having us review those products. And secondly, I also want to thank the review team of the World JAIN Challenge. You see here quite a list of people. People from Interdem are reviewers, people from Alzheimer Europe, also people from Alzheimer Netherlands and from Freelance. And it's an honor to say that also people from the European Working Group of People with Dementia from Alzheimer Europe are collaborating in reviewing the prototypes of products that we have. What did I want to say more about this? Yes, I want to say more about this. That is about this review. These reviewers, they did really do a good job because, and an intensive job, because all the submissions for the World JAIN Challenge were reviewed by 3 independent reviewers. In this stage where the pitches take place, a subgroup of this group of reviewers also will review the pitches that we have already seen before they are broadcasted today. And also after the pitches, the 2 webinars, they will have a look again and make their final rankings so that we will see who will be the winners of this World JAIN Challenge. So the World JAIN Challenge will, of course, lead to 1 best prototype and also 1 best product. And on the 6th of April, we will know who will be the winner of this event. Hans gave me already a prize that I can show you. I hope it is visible like this. This is the prize for the winner of the best prototype and also, of course, one for the best product. And next to that, of course, the winners will be supported in further developing their product or helping their product being implemented in practice. We will also get a lot of publicity for them so that they will really be helped in promoting their products further. So let's look forward to the pitches that will take place very soon. For now, I would like to thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to further collaborate and accelerate in these fields. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Franca, for traveling to Sweden all the way as well. And just for your activities within the World JAIN Challenge assessment group, and for your perspective on today's developments in this field. So we are very much thankful to work with you. And also, we have some interesting questions already for you via YouTube. The first question is, with the focus on assistive technologies, aren't you afraid that technology will replace human care?
Thank you for that interesting question. That's indeed also a question that I get sometimes when I teach about the subject with professionals, that they are afraid that human care will be replaced by technology. And I think we all have to watch out for that not to happen. Because I don't want to underestimate the risk that might happen. And I think that, if people are, for instance, able to go outside for a walk and that they enjoy that they should be allowed to do so. And that we do not say to them in nursing homes, you have to stay inside and you can, for instance, walk on a treadmill. But there can be a rainy day, or it can be that the people don't want to go outside. And then technology can be a very good solution. Because if you then, for instance, on a treadmill walk and you see an interactive screen with a route, that is more fun to do such kind of activity. And it is also beneficial to do. We know that from research. So in my view, the technology should really be complementary to the human care. But I think, and that's also with what I started my presentation, that it is really important that we also have this technology in place, because, as I said, we know that we have much more people with dementia in the future, and we really need to have also this solution to really maintain a good quality of care for the people with dementia and their carers.
Okay.
So I hope that's answer to your question.
Very extensive answer. Yes, very well. Okay, so let's see at the next question. What steps are being taken to overcome the challenge of ethical values, as this can be very broad? Now, how do you know where to start?
There are indeed various ethical values that you have to take into account. I think the most important one is that you have a look at the people with dementia and to go and talk to them and ask them what they need to feel well, to feel able to participate if they want to in society. And it's important that, right from the beginning, the people with dementia are included, and that they think with the designers about what and how the technology should be developed. And for that, it is also important, and I also noticed that in this World JAIN Challenge, for instance, that we as professionals are able to explain well what we are intending with the technology. So that it is for the people with dementia, good understandable what the technology is about, what it will look like, and so that we can really go in a good discussion with the end users, how the technology should be developed. And with that, I think the chance that it is really being used in practice will only be larger. Right.
And sometimes it could be difficult to take them in this process, to involve them, right? Like the end users, because they have dementia. Do you experience that, or have you experienced that obstacle?
Yeah, what it makes more difficult is that you as a researcher have to think about how you will discuss the ideas that you have. and that you not use the jargon that you maybe are used to use when you talk with other researchers or with other design experts. So, and that's for everyone a challenge to think, what is it actually that we are wanting to do, and to discuss that in plain language. And of course, with researchers, you can sometimes do a session of 4 hours to really think a concept through. You have to take into account that you have, that you have a discussion with people with dementia, and that they may not be able to have a session of 4 hours. So you have to organize it differently, and you have to talk about it differently. But yeah, I've done in my projects various workshops with people with dementia and also with informal carers, in which we really had good meetings, and people with dementia could also explain themselves what they liked about the product and what they did not like about the project.
Okay.
About the product. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think we have time for one more question. You mentioned as a challenge that users also need support in using the technology. What do you mean with that exactly?
Yeah, that we cannot expect that if we have a nice tablet, that we put that in the homes of the people with dementia. And the tablet is, for instance, for helping with the day structure or with playing their favorite music. We cannot expect people with dementia to just know, after maybe one explanation, that they know how to work with that. So we really have to guide the people with dementia to work with the tablet. If we use the example of a tablet, we also have to instruct the informal caregivers and help them also with, for instance, adding music or adding photos in the tablet. And not only the people with dementia and the caregivers, but we noticed also in another project that we had, in which we developed a course about technology, that also not all professionals who work in dementia care are really educated in dementia care, and also not educated in what it means if you work with technology. So I think right from early education as a professional in healthcare, people should have also education about digital care, and how to do that, and what it means for your work processes, and what it means for maybe a changing relationship also between you and the person who uses it. So a lot of, I think education is very important. And also, if you use the technology, that there is a help desk, that there maybe are technical volunteers who really can help also after you've installed it and worked with it. For a week, that after that week also support is available if you have questions with the technology.
All right. Yes. Well, thank you very much for your answers and for your expertise on this. And we look forward to hear more from you, Franca. For now, we go on to the last speaker of today, which is Arlene Astel. She is certainly not the least speaker. She is active at Toronto, University of Toronto in Canada. She's director of the Dementia Aging Technology Engagement Lab at KITE, and full professor in neurocognitive diseases at the University of Reading, United Kingdom. She's also a senior scientist at Samsung AI Center, where she leads the Wellbeing Lab. Arlene has more than 20 years experience developing and evaluating interventions to support people to age as well as possible, including those living with dementia. JAIN is honored to host this expert and sincerely welcomes Arlene Astel. Arlene, the floor is now yours.
Thank you, Thomas. I'm just sharing my slides. Okay, can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Great, thank you. So I just want to say I'm absolutely delighted to be here and have this opportunity. When I first was contacted by Hans, a bit like the Innovation Centre was saying earlier, it was like something I'd been waiting for the past 20 years, for somebody to really see the potential of how technology can transform the lives of people living with dementia. we all know that, as we've heard, the dementia is currently not treatable with medication. There's nothing that can stop or reverse the neurodegeneration. And so really the technology that we have available right now and that is emerging offers many potential supports and solutions for people to live their lives with dementia if we can get it into their hands. And that has been one of the major challenges that I've encountered since I started working in this field. And what I want to talk about today, and I think you'll see echoes of some of the things Franco was speaking about, is give some insights into the ways that we work in my lab and some of the things that we've done. But rather than just a list of projects, I want to sort of give you some, show you some examples from the projects and bring in the voices of people living with dementia. Now, what I'm going to talk about is not just my work. I don't take credit for everything. I have a fabulous lab in Toronto, the Date Lab, and these are some of the current members, and also a number of wonderful collaborators around the world that I've been very lucky to work with. So the work I'm going to be talking about has been done always in partnership and collaboration, and mostly multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary groups. So obviously, the World JAIN Challenge is why we're here, and I wanted to pick up on 3 of the aims from the challenge. There's actually 4 aims, but I wanted to mention these 3 as they're most aligned with what I wanted to talk about today. So first of all, the importance of increasing the self-reliance and quality of life of people living with dementia, and also family members who support them, and how we can leverage technology to do that. The point about extending the time that people can stay living at home or in familiar environments is also always a key concern for people around the world. And how do we support family members and other informal carers, and also healthcare professionals? And that point Franco was just making at the end about we need a technology-enabled workforce. We can't just hand over a box and go, here's a wonderful gadget and it will solve your problems. Because both for the people with dementia and the caregivers, they need training and support to make that work. Okay, so what I want to start with is something that I would probably do if I was teaching my class, but I want to make a point for people who are perhaps not familiar. When we think about dementia, we think the problem is mainly memory. If you look at a word cloud, memory always comes up, but actually there's lots of different aspects of cognitive function. And there's actually lots of different types of dementia. We all know about Alzheimer's disease, but in fact, there is more than 12, maybe even 20 different types. It keeps changing as research progresses. But this is really important because when we're thinking about technology to address the challenges of living with dementia, then we need to know what exactly the challenges are. And I think it's really important for people to know that dementias are cognitive disorders. We typically think of them as behavioral changes, people losing ability to do things, but it's actually the cognition underneath that really supports the behaviors. And that's another thing I wanted to flag up for people who are perhaps coming new to the field. There are many different disorders with different cognitive profiles, and they are all crying out for technological solutions. So not everything is a memory problem. And I think I really think that's an important message for people. There's so much wide open space for different types of dementia to have technologies introduced, that there's so much work to be done. So I just wanted to raise awareness, and these categories are from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. So these are used in the diagnostic process. So, you know, I would really encourage people to think about dementia as having a combination of different patterns of cognitive challenges. So I wanted to introduce someone with dementia, and I apologize for the quality. This is some video that was shot at a person's home in a study about activities people would like to keep being able to do. And this lady was very keen to keep being able to do her laundry and hang it out on the washing line. So here is a little clip. So you just observe what she does. That would be most useful.
Now this, you could do it several weeks.
Mm-hmm. You could either do 3 or something. And then, if you wanted to, is that okay? Yep. No, no more.
Okay, so what you might have observed there, you've perhaps never thought very closely about laundry, but actually there's a number of different actions involved. There's picking up the clothing, shaking it, picking up a peg, finding a place on the washing line, being able to put the pegs on, and so on. So it's something that involves a number of cognitive processes as well as physical actions. Now, as I said, this was part of a project where we were looking at supporting people with prompting to keep doing activities that were important to them. And most of the things that came up were very sort of day-to-day things, such as using a television remote, cooking, and laundry. We're also interested in how we could use technology to support people to maintain their independence and their autonomy and competence. And that's why I think this really fits with the JAIN aims. But we were also involved family caregivers because we wanted to understand, because we're talking about a progressive condition, how does the changing needs of a person with dementia impact their family caregivers, especially as they require more support over time. So this particular lady, who was 59 years old when we met her, so she had what's called a young onset dementia, and we met with her and her partner about 9 times over about a 15-month period. And here is a second video, which was taken, we worked with them for 32 months. This was after 15 months from the first one. I'd just like you to pay attention again to how she is doing the washing this time.
Oh, sorry, again. Okay. They've got on the line, John. Where is the line? Right above us. That is it. Oh, they've got on the line. Okay. Right. That's it. Open up there. Okay. One there. Further along top. Right there. Where the finger is. Right. Take that one off and put it a bit there. Yeah. And it's the exact same on the other side. With your fingers. Like Jove.
Okay, so what you probably observed was that this time around, so 15 months later, she requires much more prompting. Her husband is doing it sort of step by step. Initially, she didn't know where the washing line was, or perhaps what he meant by that. But she could still do some of the physical actions, like she could put it over the line, she could use the pegs. And this is the type of observation that we were interested in, because we wanted to understand how that prompting, when it's successful, how it can keep people carrying out activities. And that then has been part of an ongoing research project that we're still doing now, using mixed reality technologies as a way to try and deliver these prompts. So what was really interesting here was that we saw changes in physical actions, but they were largely maintained. But the cognitive actions, the pieces that string it all together, were much more affected just in that 15-month period. And I think that does give some insight into deterioration as it occurs. And in her behavior, she became much less confident. In the first one, she's sort of like, no bother. She's really, knows what she's doing. In the second one, she's looking to her husband at every step. And I think these are really valuable insights when we're trying to innovate to deal with sort of everyday activities and understanding the changing needs of people with dementia and caregivers. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of this chart. These are some barriers that I identified, and I think actually Franco mentioned some of them. She talked about the need to plan, and also the workforce. The one about low investment is just a bugbear of mine, in that dementia gets less investment than things like cancer research, but what it does get, a lot of it goes to the biomedical research. And so there's even less for the non-pharmacological interventions. But I just want to pick up on the two here, the green and the orange, that basically a barrier that we've constantly encountered is very low expectations and negative perceptions about what people with dementia can do. And the idea that, well, they can't learn anything. So how can we give them some technology? How can they participate in co-production and co-creation? And that's what the green circle is about, that there's been a sort of tendency not to actually involve people with dementia directly, but rather to use family caregivers or professional caregivers as proxies. And I just want to give some insights into how those can be addressed. So one of the things that we've been working on for quite a long time is working with tablets. And one of those reasons is when you're using mainstream devices, especially and games that you can just download from the normal game store, that challenges perceptions because these are familiar. And so when people with dementia can use them, it really opens up people's ideas about, oh, I didn't realize people could do that. And we've had those comments from staff and volunteers who've worked with people with dementia for maybe 15, 20 years. And they go, I never thought a person with dementia could play a game or use a tablet or whatever. We've also done this as group activities. And one of the things that we do, and it's what we do frequently now in most of our projects, is we try to provide training to the staff, because as Franco pointed out, this is also a barrier. And so we try to go in and do research in various settings, including people's own homes and day programs and long-term care and other residential settings. But we try to leave behind the things that are successful. So we empower the staff to be able to keep delivering them. And some people might think that playing games as a group is a little odd, but actually it works really well in these types of settings. And here's just a little feedback from someone whose mum was taking part. You can read it for yourself, but basically I like that she said, well, so first of all, she notices a difference in her mother's mood and speech. She enjoys the bubble game, which we've written about extensively, and she's trying new ones. She enjoys bowling. The fact that the daughter said it's made a huge difference to her life and mine. These are readily available devices. They're not even that expensive today. I mean, obviously that's relative in which part of the world you're in, but really they have come down in price and they contain so much functionality that people with dementia could be benefiting from right now. So, ideally there would be a mandate that everybody could have a tablet and some Wi-Fi connectivity to be accessing these devices. We also, in my group, because we've done a lot of work with apps, we've created a website as a resource so people can go and find games to play that are accessible for people with dementia. We give tips if you want to go and have a look about how to use the settings to turn off the pop-ups and make the fonts, etc., the right size. And that has been really, I think, helpful for people who go, oh, my dad likes chess, how do I find a chess game, etc. So I would recommend that if you're interested in finding accessible apps. We also have used the gaming systems, and here's a little clip. And I would say that many of the organizations that we work with, they really require group activities, because that's how they support people. Either this is a day program, but same with long-term care. And what we have done here, we've actually had an implementation program whereby we've been conducting research on the physical and cognitive and social benefits of playing bowling, but also we have implemented it. And even though we were using the Xbox Connect, which Microsoft unhelpfully stopped packaging together back in 2016-17, we help people acquire reconditioned ones and set it up. And even though the pandemic interfered, this center and most of the others where we were doing this before the pandemic have resumed it right off the bat because this is such a popular group activity. And I think that's really important to get across of how this can be done. I say we have resources for people to set these things up in my lab. We have manuals that we provide. Anybody can download them. We actually have them in English and Spanish at the moment. We also run weekly tablet workshops, monthly, so it was weekly, it's monthly, which one of my team does. And again, sometimes we do those in Spanish if required. The other thing I wanted to talk about was how we have developed things together. And I'd say how we involve people with dementia. So this is a project that goes back quite a way, but hopefully you can see some of the development. And this again was in a day program, and we just asked everybody who was there if they'd like to come and have a try, and everybody was interviewed at the end of their session. So what we were trying to find out here is how people use prompts when there's nobody else available and they're just getting all the feedback and instruction from the device. So you might hear sounds, which are giving them cues, and sometimes movement.
Hello, I'm still dabbing away here. Oh my goodness, what a good job you made of that.
So I think it's important to think that, you know, one of the messages I think is important is when you're working with centres that are providing care for people with dementia, there's often a wide range of abilities and types of diagnosis. And some of the people you just saw had, for instance, Parkinson's disease. But for us, trying to answer those questions of can people just get the instruction they need from the computer, from the device, was actually really helpful for creating new games and activities for people. And I think taking that time and understanding what people took from playing the game and what they liked and didn't like. In that project, we made over 30 different prototypes, and many of them were rejected because they were too boring, too simple, didn't see the point. So people will definitely tell you what they think, no problem. Okay, so we also do co-creation workshops, and we have a number of activities, a bit like Franco mentioned, we run these workshops. Sometimes they're a couple of hours, sometimes they're all day with lunch in the middle. We have a range of different things. So we invite along people like researchers, developers, designers, engineers, people who are making new technologies. And this activity is called the scavenger hunt. And basically everybody goes around and tries things out and just talks with the developers. And how many times people have come to this and they have never put their prototype in front of an older person, let alone a person with dementia before, is unbelievable. But they just sit and make it in their lab or wherever in their, you know, in their workshop and think they will show it to people at the end. But when they bring it along and they engage in conversation, so here is one about where there's a robot, but actually it's an app to help people decide what clothes to wear. People gave that one rather short shrift, I'm afraid, because they didn't really see the point of what the robot was for. But anyway, the next one was another robot which was being developed, and this is a companion. And then this one here was to be a jukebox. And in all of these, you might notice there are also not just older people, there are young people, there are families. And that's because at these workshops, we try to bring all the relevant parties together to hear each other's voices, so that it's not just sitting down a group of people with dementia and they're on the spot. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? It's very much about engaging people in a range of activities. Scavenger hunt is only one. And you can find out more about them here if you're interested. There's some examples, but what I'm trying to get across is starting with your community, starting with the people you're trying to make the solution with and for is the way to go. So I just want to end with these questions, which have come, I guess, from all the years that I've been trying to, innovate with people living with dementia in different places and with different teams and different disciplines. And I think the key questions are these: who wants the technology? So that is a great starting point. Like, who is asking for this? Whose need is it? Why do they want it? What do they want to do with it? What's it for? Where is it going to be used? What's the context? Is it a person's home? Is it in the community? Is it long-term care or somewhere else? When is it going to be used? Is it something people will have all the time? Is it something for just now and again for certain activities? And how will they access it? And that could be everything from how will they buy it? What about, will someone give it to them? Will they get support in setting it up and maintaining it? But if you start with these, that gives you a sense of what this technology is for, because there are things out there that are called dementia technology, and they're certainly not intended for people who are living with dementia. Okay, so that was my final slide. I just want to say thanks. And if you'd like to contact me, you can reach me at the University of Toronto or through Twitter as Positive Aging. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Arlene, for this very interesting talk. We have a lot of questions.
Okay.
First question is, my mother has dementia that progresses rapidly despite her young age. What would you recommend for me? I know there's not a magic wand, but we have no choice but to try the most effective methods.
It's a really good question. I'm really sorry to hear about your mother. Yeah, younger onset dementias do commonly progress quite rapidly, and they are very, it does stand out the difficulties people have because they're younger and you don't expect this type of cognitive impairment. I think it really depends on two things. One would be what if your mum has a diagnosis, and if so, what that is, because as I said at the beginning, there are different types of dementia with different cognitive challenges. And so matching something to her specific needs is really, really important. So the second point is then understanding not just what the diagnosis is, but what is it that she's having difficulty with? Is it managing everyday activities? Is it social interaction? Is it travel or finances? Or is it just keeping occupied? Is it reducing anxiety? Those are all different types of challenges that people can face. There may not be one particular thing, but rather could be a selection of things. I think in that situation, it's about breaking it down into what are, as I just said at the end, what are the challenges that you want to address? Is there a priority? And then looking for if there is anything specifically available for that particular diagnosis. As I said, there is a bit of a lack for the less common types of dementia. People haven't really taken on that challenge, but hopefully there could be something based on the particular challenge you want to solve. Sorry, I can't be more specific because I don't actually know the problems, but.
It's very complex, yes. Thank you for this extensive answer. And you made a really strong point, Kana says, about co-creation, and I would like to know more about the role this plays in making new technology or services.
Yeah, I actually think it's quite fundamental, and I was recently on a part of an expert workshop for the Nuffield Council in the UK, which is looking at how to use co-production and co-creation. Just the difference between those terms is that co-creation is creating new products and devices, and co-production is actual services. I actually think it's really important to get all of the people that this will apply to involved, especially with services. For devices and products, I think if something is for people who have dementia, then they are the users who should be there from the beginning, because then you can understand, like I was showing you with the lady with her washing, when you hear that, you might think, oh, well, how will you deliver prompts because you've got an outdoor environment? And we did try different ways of prompting and saw what worked and what didn't. And we ended up, actually, the most successful thing was recordings of her husband's voice, which were played at different time points. But there's all sorts of challenges with doing prompting. But I think it's absolutely vital to have the intended users of the technology right from the start, because otherwise you could create something and there's an obvious item or aspect that you haven't even thought about. And as soon as someone sits down and tries it, you will see that it doesn't work. So when I showed you the painting, and you'll notice that was a very large, older type touchscreen, but we put some buttons at the bottom and we had paint pots that could move because we're trying to see what would get people's attention. But this whole screen was active. But what we realized was quite a few people, once they learn that they can touch in one place and something will happen, they will just always touch there. So just understanding how the people you're designing or developing for will how they navigate things. What do they use right now? How, why do they like those? We've done those types of things. So I think it's absolutely essential.
It is. Okay, thank you for all these answers. For your very interesting talk, Arlene Astel. Yes, we go on to the pitches now, to the live pitches of the 3 prototype teams of today. The first prototype team is CC, the product CC of Mohammed Adnan Azam. He is from Creators. Mohammed, are you ready? Because we have a few seconds until your pitch.
Yeah, I am ready.
Okay, then we wait a few more seconds. I just want to say right now that if there are any questions for Mohammed, please ask them during his pitch. We will have 5 minutes for answering questions. And the floor is yours now, Mohammed.
Thank you, Thomas. Every 3 seconds, someone is diagnosed with dementia. If not us, it could be our near and dear ones in the future. It could seem like the end of the road for many people. However, at Creators, we believe that it's just the beginning of a new journey. That's why we're excited to present our product CC to identify the needs of persons with dementia. The problem that we're solving is that doctors and care professionals need to know about the needs and problems in the life of a person with dementia to be able to curate their interventions and their treatment. However, the current way of understanding these problems is not efficient because it's based on an interview or a questionnaire, which is a one-time thing, but problems and needs happen over time. And there could be recall bias. A lot of things can't be tracked manually. And it can be really cumbersome if we ask caregivers or persons with dementia to note down their everyday life. That's why we're presenting our solution CC. CC is a platform with a wearable tracker for the person with dementia and a companion journaling app for the caregiver or the carer. Our algorithm combines the data from the wearable with the input from the app to generate a report with insights over time. These insights help care professionals understand what kind of treatment and interventions are needed, and also understand what is the effectiveness of different interventions. Now, these insights are based on the neuropsychiatric inventory, also known as the behavioral and psychological symptoms of dementia. These are the most commonly occurring behavioral symptoms which cause stress and reduce the psychological well-being of the person with dementia as well as their family members. So these are the ones that the healthcare system is looking to treat and intervene on so as to improve the quality of life of everyone. Now, this is how our insights look like. As you can see, which behavior is most frequent or most stressful? What is the associated caregiver stress level with it? Because as you know, dementia care is not just about the person with dementia themselves, it's also about the carer and the family. What time of the day does this behavior occur at? What is the frequency? Are there any associated behaviors? such that we can understand what leads to these and also design better interventions. Now, here's a demo of the journaling app. As you can see, it's really simple. It wouldn't take more than 2 minutes for the carer or the family member to enter this journal. We designed it this way because we got feedback from carers that they do not want to spend a lot of time on making notes, and this is adding more to their already full plate. That is why we've kept the input minimal, and using AI, we extract the insights from this minimum input. Now, to explain the value proposition, let me go through a short journey of Natalie, who's a person with dementia. As you can see, from January to March, she has higher agitation and she's more stressed. Now, CC identifies that she's wandering in the afternoon on weekdays, and it's preceded by restlessness, higher stress levels, and later bedtime. This enables the clinician to ask better questions. Why is she wandering more during the weekdays and not during the weekends? Maybe she's not as engaged in activities. And based on this, the clinician prescribes antipsychotics and music therapy in the afternoon, since she's more restless during that time, and things improve. But over time, you can see from May to July, she becomes more irritable and stressed. And CC identifies that she's sleeping more during the day and hence less during the night. And this is increasing her irritability. Based on this insight, the clinician or the healthcare professional changes the timing of the medication from afternoon to morning, such that she's not as sleepy during the day, and also reduces the dosage. Now, why is this needed? This is needed because dementia keeps evolving, the brain keeps evolving, and the care also needs to keep evolving. Our value propositions for the healthcare ecosystem: with lesser behavioral and psychological symptoms, there will be better care at home, and the person with dementia can stay a longer time at home. This reduces the stress on the healthcare ecosystem as well, when more people are staying at home and living well. Remotely monitoring and caring for persons with dementia, we can enable care organizations to care for more people with less time. Case managers can also use this information to create personalized routines and interventions based on what the behavioral needs of the person with dementia are. And these insights can be integrated from one stakeholder to another so that everyone is on the same page, with consent, of course. Now, there's also some opportunity in non-pharmacological interventions. We're initiating collaborations with therapists, clinicians, and researchers to study which interventions are better for which behaviors. Based on this research, we can understand which interventions actually target which behaviors, so that in the future, non-pharmacological interventions can be actually as effective as pharmacological interventions, because we don't really know enough about the effect and side effects of these. That's why we don't have enough of these solutions. For example, as you can see in a recent research study, apathy was looked at as a treatment target in Alzheimer's disease. Similarly, we believe that every neuropsychiatric symptom needs to be looked at as a treatment target, because everyone is different and everyone has different symptoms. And that's why everyone needs specialized interventions. And that is what CC enables. Now, we built our prototype with support from our university, NTU Singapore, and we're currently discussing our first feasibility study with healthcare institutions in Singapore. Obviously, it's hard to evaluate such a solution because it needs time and it's very subjective. That is why it will take us some time to validate it. Our team consists of me, Mohammed, and Prithvi Raj. We're both final year robotics students at NTU Singapore. And this wouldn't have been possible without our mentors, who are doctors and researchers at various institutions in Singapore. Now,
10 seconds.
We envision this solution benefiting and personalizing the ecosystem for dementia care in all countries. So reach out and let us discuss how we can effectively bring this to different ecosystems. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mohammed. We have several questions. How do caregivers at home benefit from it, apart from reducing carer stress? And also, what if there are no caregivers?
Yeah, can I share my screen?
Sure.
Yeah, so that is why, as I mentioned, these insights will not just benefit the healthcare providers, but also the caregivers at home, because they can understand what needs to be done better. And we can also provide them with educational videos. For example, if a person with dementia has more agitation, then we can provide them with educational videos such as why does agitation happen? Or we can give them simple recommendations or mindfulness tips that this is totally normal. We can give them reassurance that this happens to everyone with dementia. It's not unique. It is okay, and it will be okay. And as you mentioned, like what happens to people who are living alone? Well, people who are living alone, we know that they have a higher level of cognitive ability. That's why they are able to live alone. So they can use this themselves to be more aware of their condition and to actually feel more independent and empowered about their condition and navigate their own challenges with dementia.
Okay, thank you. Next question. How do you ensure privacy of sensitive data?
Yeah, so the way we are building our platform, the way we are building our platform is we are ensuring that it's HIPAA and GDPR certified. So the patient and the caregiver will have full power of how much data they want to share and with whom. So that's how we are keeping the data secure, and it's totally up to the caregivers how much they want to share.
Okay, thank you. What value does it add to current existing digital solutions?
So current existing digital solutions can also leverage on our algorithm and backend to understand when their solutions can be delivered, like what time of the day it needs to be delivered, in what amount. For example, there are different therapeutics companies which engage persons with dementia directly, and they can use our algorithm or our backend to enable more effective delivery of their solution.
Okay, thank you. How do you differentiate between behavioral symptoms and non-behavioral symptoms of the same nature? Wandering versus going for a walk?
Yeah, so how we differentiate it is based on two things. One is obviously the journaling app. Based on the input from the journaling app, we use that as context for the wearable data. So we're not just relying on the wearable data to detect, because there is all sorts of data there. So we partially also rely on the input from the app to understand, what time of the day were they wandering at, or what time of the day was the caregiver most stressed at, based on which we can identify or correlate that to the walking or wandering patterns. And walking has a different pattern that can be recognized, which is different to wandering. And this has already been studied, and we will also be studying this further once we enter into a research collaboration.
Okay. How do you decide on which behavioral parameters are important?
So as I mentioned during my presentation, our insights are based on the neuropsychiatric inventory. And this is a standardized list of symptoms that is used by doctors and healthcare professionals worldwide to assess the stage and assess the needs of a person with dementia. So this has been standardized worldwide. That is why we selected or are working on this, because then we can build something which can be accessible worldwide.
Right. Okay. One quick question. How do you started this? How did you come up with it?
Yeah. So actually, we took part in this program called Lean Launchpad program, Singapore, and we had an idea related to dementia. But the motto of Lean Launchpad is to go out there and interview people to see whether your idea is good or not. And we interviewed children of persons with dementia, doctors, care organizations, and we found that what we were working on was not valuable. And we found that the challenging behaviors that come alongside dementia is what is needed, and that what needs to be solved for the persons with dementia as well as their family members. So this was all from the interviews that we found that these behaviors, we need to come up with a more effective solution to assess them such that the right intervention can be delivered to the right person at the right time.
All right. Well, thank you very much for this interesting pitch. We go on to the next pitch. This is Mai Evers from the company Optictronics. Anna Grabowski is present, and also her colleagues Roger Bullock and Renee Gilbert. So Mai Evers, we wait a few more seconds until we start with your pitch.
Okay, hi, it's Roger Bullock. I'm actually doing the presentation. I'm Chief Medical Officer. So,
okay. You have 10 more seconds before we start officially. Sorry to interrupt.
I'll just say that my avós is Portuguese for grandparents, and I live in Portugal now. So, a little bit of context for you.
Okay, you can start now.
Okay, right. So, let's start, Anna. First slide. So we know that dementia is a huge problem. We also know that the current options are not working, and the bills are rising, the numbers are huge, and we need to do something about it. And it's not by employing more doctors and more nurses. We also know the caregiver side's not working very well. Many caregivers are reporting they need more help. 70% to 40% have depressive symptoms which need treatment, and it accounts for a huge amount of the total care burden. We went to these people, and with the help of Alzheimer's Europe, and we found that our ideas about using a smartphone application were highly recommended. We were astounded to see how many people with dementia already use smartphones and apps. The caregivers were super keen. Everybody said they wanted simplification, and a lot of them said that they were getting information from the internet which they didn't trust, and they would like something that was reliable. We also found that caregivers themselves felt that all this measurement of their relatives, some of it would be useful for themselves. And also the fact that we're introducing an app, which is the same app for caregivers, means that they act sort of symbiotic, and the caregiver can understand what's going on with the loved ones, and also share information with their families as well. The main thing was they wanted one application, so this is what we produced. Our aim is to promote lifestyle changes, which, according to the Lancet paper from 2017, there are multiple risk factors that are reversible. If we acted in concert with them, we may be able to affect the incidence and course of disease. The consequence of that is also to proactively identify early Alzheimer's disease, and at the same time provide comprehensive support for caregivers. So the science is well published, well documented. We know throughout life there are things you can do that maybe reduce your chances of getting dementia, or at least decrease the severity of it. And these are well published. So what we're trying to do now is digitize this into a personalized app in order to maximize the knowledge that we already have. So MyAvos embeds digital technologies to improve outcomes. We know from this long list of published research that digitalization techniques work. We've got better outcomes in hypertension and various other outcomes. So we're inferring that what we do will do the same thing. What the problem is that there's a lot of things to choose from. And in dementia, the landscape's very fragmented and siloed. We've got these 4 areas in the inner circle of domains of need and lots of options. So what we've done, next slide, is created My Avos. We're working with selected partners to simplify this process and basically bring these 4 areas of need together into one app. The technology, next slide, is complex. We are getting ready for Web3. We're obviously, this is a personalized app. So we use the information put into the app by the patient to generate insights and data for use by other organizations and individuals, but primarily by the person themselves. If we look at the app, just these are screenshots of the app. We have basically these areas of work. We have activity tracking, we have diet logging, and cognitive assessment. So if we stop there for a minute. So with the activity tracking, that's using wearables and nearables, using the stuff that's already on the phones. The diet logging is the only manual bit at the moment, where we ask people to enter representative samples of their diet to see if it can be improved. The cognitive assessment's entirely passive. We send a picture a month for people to describe, and then the content of their description is analysed according to number of words, nouns, etc., and comes up with a cognitive readout. At the moment, that's also being prepared for assessing depression and anxiety with the same methodology. We've also got user-reported outcomes, which are at the moment manually filled in, that just tests every month or so, looking for signs of impending problems. And all of this data is then combined into sort of hyper-personalized insights and conversations, which with our main partner, which is a behavioral science team, we can then say to people, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And offer them training and systems to help them mitigate some of the lifestyle factors that they may need to help improve their situation. Finally, there's a dashboard for the patient, which is really just to see any progress and various bits and what information is being collected. So the last slide, we think that all this, that's a lot to talk about in 8 minutes, and I, hope we've generated the interest. We think this will optimize the patient and carer disease journey in all aspects of the disease. At the moment, our sweet spot would be looking at the interface around diagnosis. So would this help a GP be more confident in referring someone for specialist care? Could it help a GP reassure someone who really doesn't need to be referred to specialist care? And once diagnosed, is it a good way of monitoring and looking at any treatments that may be offered? In the long term, what we hope is that mitigating these risk factors will, as described in the Lancet, will produce impact on incidence. And if we do it in enough numbers, this is all very scalable. If we do it in enough numbers, maybe we can affect the prevalence as well. And this could be the start of reducing the amount of people with dementia, and hopefully at the same time, improving the journey that they have, both in terms of maybe affecting their own disease, but also building a more robust understanding of what's going on around the person within the family, and therefore hopefully keep them at home for much longer. I'll stop there and take questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. How do you have calculated the 200 billion worth of care is provided by family members and other unpaid caregivers?
It's taken from published literature from the Alzheimer's Disease International, another big global Alzheimer's organization.
Okay. How do you have organized that the impact of My Avos will be landed?
The impact. I guess that's in several stages, really. I mean, when we went to the focus groups at Alzheimer's Europe, we were quite taken back by the reaction and the enthusiasm, and can we have it now? And this was 18 months ago. So, but yeah, a lot of people saying this is exactly what we want. Since then, we've spoken with KOLs in Germany, particularly, and in the UK, and they see this as quite a valuable addition to the fact that most of the time they see patients, it's cross-sectionally, and this gives them some real-time data to look at. And we've also since spoken with several GPs who think this is exactly what they need in terms of reinforcing their confidence and understanding around the very early stages of dementia, because specialists are very keen to get people early. General practice is all about referring people when it's getting too much for them to handle. So this is a way of bridging that gap.
All right. How do you ensure that you deliver a solution that directly addresses the needs of people with dementia?
Okay, so actually, I'll as a true politician, I'll answer that last. What we've found in working through this is there are two groups of people that are really quite unserved by dementia services. The people with dementia get quite a lot, but I'll come back to that. So people with early dementia, MCI and various early stages, a lot of them get told to, you've got a problem, but it's not bad enough. Come back when it's worse, which for me in the 21st century doesn't seem like a great answer. These people know they've got an impending problem, but there's nothing anyone's offering to do for it. So this is a group that it really impacts, because if you start mitigating life factors, you may actually affect the course of your disease. And that's true with diabetes. We know that with diabetes. The other group is caregivers. Caregivers get a little bit of support from local social care and bits and pieces, maybe from family and friends, but they don't get anything that's personal to them on an ongoing basis. So these are two huge groups that we know there's a need for. People with dementia, I think this offers them their own personal way of doing something. At the moment, treatment with dementia is quite passive. You get diagnosed, you get given a pill or not. In the future, you may get given an injection, but it's hard to know completely what's going on. So this gives them the opportunity to do that. It also unifies the scheduling of their lives into one app, and eventually, I think that it will, in the long term, if the family and the person with dementia are really working together in an informed way and making the right choices, I suspect they'll stay at home a lot longer.
Okay. Before we move on to politics in the end, in your opinion, what are the signs that patients are trapped in a reactionary care intervention model?
Well, I think, the care intervention model is very passive, very unidirectional at the moment. There isn't a lot of choice. Doctors do what doctors do. Other people do what they do. It's not very integrated. I mean, one of the joys of this is that you could go to 12 different settings with this information and not have to fill in 12 different forms of the same questions. So if you integrate all the care, then that's good. But really, when you look at it, a lot of dementia care is you get given what's available. There's not a lot of discussion about what you need. It's getting better, but it's not as good as it could be. And if you inform people to have the right discussions, they'll probably get what they need rather than what's available. And if it's not available, and a lot of people ask for it, maybe it'll become available.
Right. Okay, so we have 40 more seconds. So the last question, what do you think is most important that we should remember?
That we should remember about this, or about a person in general?
Yes, the letter.
What do you think we should... I'm not sure I get the question. What we should remember?
Let me look at the question. Only 10 more seconds. Yeah, so in general about the person.
The person. We should remember that the person's always there, and that we should be maximizing their ability, not worrying about their disability.
All right, that's a good answer. Thank you. And we wait a few seconds before we move on. The last team is, let's see, Deep Vibes with Federico Allegro. We're looking forward to this last pitch.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Perfect.
We wait 20 seconds before you start.
Yep.
Some time management on the side. If there are any questions, keep them coming in the YouTube live chat. Of course, we had a lot of questions already, but move forward your questions for the last pitch as well. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Deep Vibe, the floor is yours.
Yeah, so hello everyone, I'm Federico, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Deep Vibes. We are a team of engineers, data scientists, academic, doctors, and dementia experts. I'm an engineer and I work in the last year with my co-founders to build several artificial intelligence products and B2C products that have been successfully used in the markets. In the last years, we launched over 30 apps. We got over 300,000 downloads, and we own a dataset of 1.2 billion conversations that we use to train our models, including the one we are building today. As I mentioned, our team is very big and is composed by experts, and we are all in the same mission of improving the quality of people affected by dementia, including the caregivers as well. So we believe that science is showing us the directions. There are many things that still we ignore about dementia, but there are a few things we already have proven. And one of the things that have been already proven is that with AI technology, by analyzing the speech biomarker in the voice, we can detect and monitor the stage and the progression of dementia with a great accuracy. The second thing that science already proved is that the mental condition like depressive states, lack of confidence, sense of loneliness, and other factors are all impacting the speed of the cognitive decline. So this means that if we can improve the mental well-being of people, we don't just increase their quality of life, but we can also slow down their cognitive decline. And that means that people can stay longer in their own environments with their loved ones. The third thing that science already proved is that reminiscence therapy is one of the most effective activities for improving the mental well-being of people living with dementia. So for those unfamiliar with the reminiscence therapy, is a clinically proven method that is usually used by professionals, and it's focusing on stimulating long-term memories of people with dementia. So it has incredible benefits on the mental well-being of people, but recent studies are showing that if done regularly, it can have it can be helpful to maintain cognitive and linguistic function. And again, if you maintain linguistic functioning up, you give more time to people to spend in their own environments. So obviously, these are the direction the science show, but the challenge is to transform these into a successful product that people like to use and love. So this is what we are doing at the best. We did for many years, and what we have learned is that in order to be successful, our products need to be simple and, most important, fun to use. So I recently lost my grandmother for dementia, and I was using to sit next to her, keep asking about memories about her childhood, and she loved to tell me all the best stories that she could recall and keep telling me a lot of things. I used to record those stories. So today I own an archive of memories that I can treasure forever. And from this idea, we are just playing around Deep Vibes all user journey. The idea of capturing stories, transforming this into a nice and fun activity between families and the person with dementia. And from here, we are going to start the therapeutic journey. So let me show in the demo how simple and how it works.
Hello, this is Deep Vibes. Deep Vibes is an app that harnesses the power of reminiscence therapy and makes it available and affordable for everyone. To get started, a family member or caregiver answers some simple questions about their loved one. This provides key information about the nature and stage of dementia. Our deep expertise and our machine learning technology generate a set of reminiscence activities tailored to their loved one's specific needs. The app then suggests a number of sessions to do with your loved one, after which you should already see improvement in the mood, depressive state, and linguistic abilities. If you want to learn more about reminiscence therapy scientific evidence, the app provides an introductory report detailing clinically proven research from top universities, including Cambridge and Harvard. Activities take the form of guided conversations using in-app topic cards. Created by multi-award-winning reminiscence expert Sarah Reed, these cards offer a range of questions designed to trigger long-term memories and stimulate specific parts of the brain. So let's take an example: memories of school days. With the app recording, you simply ask the core question on the card and encourage your loved one to start talking about that particular memory. In the early stage of dementia, this is enough to trigger anecdotes or stories, but if you need more guidance, there are plenty of prompts to help you engage and facilitate the flow of the conversation. Once the conversation is saved, our machine learning technology analyzes speech biomarkers in the recording, looking at a range of features like tone of the voice, speech fluency, and richness of vocabulary to assess mood and quantify cognitive and linguistic functioning. The data allows families to track improvements over time, show the impact of reminiscence therapy, and build a better understanding of their loved one's dementia stage and journey. And for families, one of the best features of the app is its digital memory bank. Those recordings become an archive of our parents' life stories to treasure forever and to pass down through the generations. Deep Vibes also includes a series of audio lectures to help families to better understand reminiscence therapy and many other aspects of dementia, and to support and guide them on what can be a very lonely and difficult journey. Deep Vibes truly helps families to enhance the quality of life for a loved one with dementia, and we do this at a fraction of the cost of a professional dementia specialist. Hello.
Yeah, so we got in the last months already 600 people who register in our website to get the early access. We are designing the products with the help of 20 families that are involved in the designing, giving us feedback and ideas to build better the products. And they have already recorded over 800 minutes of stories in the app as well. So I already explained that there is a great benefits for the patient, and this is what family already reported, like people with dementia can improve their quality of life, linguistic abilities, but I want to focus on the benefits for caregivers as well. So they reported
30 more seconds.
Yeah, they reported that there was an improver in their relationship. It was lowering the stress, and most important, the feature of creating a legacy of memory where they are taking care of their loved one is a really meaningful things for their journey. This is going to include also physicians. They are going to allow to monitor, measure the impacts of cognitive abilities, and it provide a tool to diagnose better dementia with our AI technology. Like we are in the beta version, and I'm concluding, like we are going to launch soon with the aim to scale globally because it's a digital product. The app is going to be free. It's going to be affordable for everyone. We're going to just charge a monthly subscription of less than $10 just for the premium version with the AI features itself. And we are starting a clinical trials to be recognized as a medical device that improve quality of life and slow down the cognitive decline. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Federico. Let's see at the questions. Does this product require any regulation, and what do you predict Deep Vibe will look like in 3 years?
So it doesn't require any regulation because we are a mental well-being app at the moment. Of course, we want, as I mentioned, be recognized as a medical device. So we are going through all the regulation journey. We're going to do the clinical trials, and we're going to prove that with the data we are collecting, that it's an app that can slow down the cognitive decline, because one of the main challenges with the cognitive activity is measuring the impacts that has on people's brain. And I think in 3 years, we have the ambition to reach 1 million of families to use these products and to have 1 billion minutes of conversation and story recorded in our archive.
Interesting. Okay, and what's Deep Vibe's go-to-market strategy?
Yeah, so we are going to start with families, and we believe that's direct to consumers, so involving families and people with dementia is the best way to start and start to growing and be adopted. And the more we are in the journey of becoming a medical device, the more we're going to move to professional care homes and then in hospital and clinics to involve like the professional first and then the physicians and doctors in the process and using the app. So the doctor will be able to monitor like the person that's with that come with dementia and see all the stages.
How do you care about protecting users' data?
Yeah, so we're using all GDPR rules. We are saving the data of people all anonymized in the cloud in unencrypted servers. And we are being very specific in our privacy policies that we don't use any of those data for commercial or marketing purpose to people.
Okay. Have the ones who have used your app also found obstacles in using the app?
I think the really nice things is that we're not even thinking about the idea of being a patient, being a caregiver. For us, it's really like families that want to enjoy a nice activity. So the therapeutic journey is like on the back, but this is not an app to intervention like directly about dementia. Is an app that is just bonding families together, and I think this remove a lot of friction to the use of the daily families.
Okay, and what is the extra value compared to other products in the market?
Yeah, so I think there are many solutions that are really focusing on the AI. One of the biggest problem on the AI is how you create a framework that is really able to train your model with a really good data set. So we believe that's creating a solution for families in the B2C space where they can record their stories. These allow us to train better and better our AI to monitor better their stage of disease and give back value to the families. So we believe this model, and plus we really want to provide a support solution for caregivers that most of the time is overlooked in the dementia ecosystem. So the idea is every single feature in the app is designed to make the caregivers feel better, because if they feel better, they're going to use and they are going to implement in a daily routine with their loved ones.
Right. Okay. And which languages does the Deep Vibe support?
Yeah, so at the moment we are starting with English, but majority of the feature we analyze is language agnostic, because there are a lot of featuring the tone of the voice that are involved. So like right now is supporting in English, but we're going to move very fast as soon as we have more people on board in different languages. I think that is specified here that the majority of the app, the feature for like recording the stories is can be used already by anyone in the world, no language barrier. So this is just related with the AI parts.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Federico, also for sharing your personal story. The pitches have been rounded off. We will stay live a few more minutes before we close this day one. For now, we already thank all pitching teams and, of course, all the interesting speakers. Whoever is watching, if you have any questions, please do ask them. Also, for the people in this Zoom meeting, the formal structure has been done, so to say. So if there are any questions from the speaker's side, again, people at home, if there are any questions for the speakers, you can still ask them. I would also like to hear something again from the embassy in Sweden, the Dutch embassy, the Innovation House. I see Franco Milan there. I see Hans Arnold, co-founder of JAIN. I think for now, yeah, it was a good day, first day of the prototypes. It was all very interesting. The virtual meeting is going very well.
I think we are very happy with what we saw here. It's really a huge control room here. And also at the back, I know there is a large control room with everyone involved. I think it were nice presentations. The pictures did very well. So yeah, I really enjoyed this webinar. Thank you also for hosting it so well, Thomas.
My compliments, Thomas, for the hosting as chairman of this whole event today. And especially I would like to have some words to our young professionals. Our young professionals who are working on the background of this whole event.
Right.
Just receiving the questions, answers the questions, and there's a lot going on the back of this event. So it is very well prepared by you. Thank you very much.
Yes, of course, we are happy with the young professionals asking questions, being present in the monthly meetings, the expert meetings, and the national symposia that we organize in cooperation with the Dutch Innovation Network. We are organizing this whole international project. It's going well, but still there are a lot of obstacles, as you just have heard from the speakers, obstacles that we can tackle together if we unify, and we are unifying it in this global network. Thank you, everybody. Indeed, like Hans is saying, the students, and like I actually already said, the speakers and the pitching teams. We're looking forward to the 6th of April, of course, when we will hear and see who is going to win this day.
So maybe we can announce as well that all young product developers or new product developers are very welcome to make products for people with dementia. And because of they are not involved in the way of business thinking, how to develop a product from an idea to a complete product, they came to us and we will help them. Seriously.
Right. Like Franca also mentioned, the Continuous Learning and Development Club. Yes, we are expanding it. And this is something we should mention, that you are welcome to join the network and our global project. For now, we will round it off. We will close this day officially. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for your questions, and see you tomorrow, of course. Bye.